Hey! I'm back. I know, after what? I know, I keep taking these long breaks. I'm so sorry. It's just, I have no excuse. But, anyways, be happy that I'm coming back for 2018. So, you know what? I'm going to talk about something that happened to me, and you can see from the title, yes, I will explain exactly what this means, and yes, this really did happen. It was so scary. Uh, well, I guess I don't know how I feel about this whole situation going down, but yeah, we'll just jump right in. And I know this is a really bad intro, but we're gonna jump right into the story. So before I start, I am going to say there is a lot that I'm leaving out and a lot of stuff that I'll probably be cutting out, just because I want to make sure that no one can find out who these people are, because if this person were to find out that I made a video about them, I don't want them to come and try to kill me again. So, and also because some people that are involved in this story are really eh. Yeah. And also because it would take forever to tell, because it's a long story. It's a very long story. So I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. So this story begins 5 years ago. Wow, 5 years ago, when I was starting 8th grade. And I had just moved here to Texas, which is like right somewhere right here on the map, Anyways, yes, so we moved to Texas, and I'm going to a new school, some private Christian school, so I have no friends. I mean, that quickly changed, but anyways, the Spanish teacher, it was, oh, by the way, this Spanish teacher was also very weird, and that he's just another story for another time. So, you know what, maybe you guys will learn about this guy later, I don't know, but for now we're just gonna kind of push him to the side. Anyways, so yeah, the Spanish teacher, he's like, guys, I know it's the beginning of the year, and I know a lot of you guys are new, which for some reason there were a lot of new people. So I'm going to pair you guys up with someone, and you guys will be friends. And so I said, or I'm thinking, yeah, that's fine, because I like meeting, I like meeting new people. I like making new friends. So let's just see what this guy gives me. So he puts me with this one person, and this one person seems normal and nice, and little naive middle school me is like, oh, it's a friend, hello friend, the teacher said we have to be friends. And so I'm like, hey friend, and he's like, hi friend. So we talk a little bit, and we become acquaintances. I wouldn't say we became friends right away. Anyways, some of the school year goes by, not that long actually, just a few weeks, maybe a month in, and this guy, we need to come up with a code name. What's a good code name? Here, I have a deck of cards next to me. Don't ask why, unless you really want to know. It's just because my friends and I, we were playing this game called BS, which is so fun. Anyways, that's besides the point. Maybe I'm just trying to, I don't know, I'm trying to prove I have a life outside of everything you see on, the Instagram and whatever. I apologize for the way I'm acting. It is 1 o'clock in the morning right now. I have been up since 7, which I guess it's not that early, but I'm so tired. I've done so much today. But anyways, I wanted to get this video now while my blue hair is just freshly done. Blue highlights, going on there. Anyways, I'm sorry. I keep getting distracted. So we're going to call this guy Jack. So Jack, he comes to the lunch table I'm at. He's like, can I sit with you? I'm like, oh, sure, Jack. Yeah, come on. And everyone else kind of knows who Jack is, because they had all been going to the school for a few years. So it's fine. We're all friends. I invite him to my birthday party, which when he comes, he messes up our speaker system. And we still haven't been able to fix it, so I don't know what he did. Anyways, that must have been, that should have been, I guess, the first thing that kind of made me go, but it wasn't because we were just like, maybe just mess some, it was it was a confusing system to begin with, so we didn't really care. Anyways, 8th grade ends, and he only does a few weird things in 8th grade. Like, he would get mad at us for texting in class, even though the teacher would say that it was okay because class would be over. So it was really weird, and he seemed to cause a lot of drama in our group chat, so yeah. Freshman year of high school comes around, and I am sitting in my honors biology class because I am such a good student. And he's also in there, so I'm like, all right, cool, Jack, I have a friend in there, but the teacher set us like an opposite side of the rooms. So I'm sitting next to my one friend, and we'll call her, what will we call her? We'll call her, I'll just, I don't want to use the first letter of the name. We'll call her Raspberry. I don't know, I'm just gonna start pulling random things I have on me right now. Anyway, so Raspberry's like, oh my god, look at Jack. I'm like, why? And I notice Jack is doing something very disgusting, and if you guys need to like skip ahead, because if you can't handle gross things with the body, because I don't know, but for those brave souls who choose to listen to this part, he was picking his nose and then pulling out the booger, looking at it, examining it, and then eating it. Oh, no. It makes me, I hate thinking about it. Like, it's just nasty. But anyways, so that was another thing that I noticed was kind of weird. Since noticing that, I started to, like, kind of be on the lookout for maybe anything else he was doing. And I noticed he would bite on his hand, like, I don't think I needed to demonstrate that, but I did for you anyway, so he would bite on his hand, and the part he was chewing on was completely gone. Like, that skin was no more. It was just muscle. And so sophomore year comes, and I keep in mind all of that. And there's, like, a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on that I'm just not going to talk about because, that's... No. So then we go to the new Spanish class, which we had a great teacher this year. She was the best teacher. She was, like, her and my art teacher for junior and senior year were my favorite teachers, and also, like, okay, I have a lot of favorite teachers, but so this teacher was great. She was awesome. She was just one of those, great teacher. She was so relatable, and she didn't, overload us with work and stuff, so great. And she's like, all right, class is beginning for the year, so sit wherever you want, sit by your friends, as long as you promise to learn. Then you can sit wherever you want. So, of course, my friend, and we'll go ahead and call this friend Rose. So Rose and I are like, oh, let's sit next to each other. So I sit in a desk, obviously. Rose sits one desk ahead of me, and then here comes Jack. And Jack decides to sit in front of Rose. And we're like, oh God, oh no. And the reason why this is so bad is because whenever the teacher would hand papers and stuff back, he would have to touch the paper before handing it back to us. And I know I sound like a terrible person, but don't lie, you would be disgusted by this too. So Rose and I had a system. She would look to see where the paper was touched, and then we would avoid touching that paper. Sometimes we'd get sticky notes and, like, cover it. And the teacher knew what was going on because she would say stuff like, oh yeah, there's this one student, and I'm not going to tell you which class it's in, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I see him picking his nose and eating it and biting his hand off, and we're like, I think I know who you're talking about. But, yeah, so it was a nasty, nasty experience. And also in sophomore year, he started writing me very weird letters, and I've since destroyed all of these letters because, no. Anyways, they would just be really weird, and he'd be like, oh yeah, there's a animal inside of me, and it's coming alive. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is just some, like, weird poetry that he's writing. Like, okay, I support, because at this point, I'm still trying to be his friend, because I feel bad for him, because I notice that other people are noticing what he's doing. So at one point I try to tell him that he should stop because it's disgusting, and he's like, oh, thanks for telling me, and he didn't stop. So yeah. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, the letters. So they'd be really weird. And then one day he got his phone taken away, and we're like, oh no, Jack, what happened? And he's like, oh, I just got bad grades, but don't worry, I will improve and get them back up. And we're like, oh, which class is it? He's like, oh, this class, which was the Spanish class. And we're like, oh, okay, well, if you need help, I can help you. And he's like, no, I got it, but thanks for the offer. So keep that in mind. He said he was getting bad grades in that class, and he showed me his average, which was a lot lower than mine because mine was a 98. Then, yeah. So anyways, so I believed it because he told me and he showed me. I'm like, oh, okay, but that's not why he got his phone taken away. It turns out that the letters he was writing me were about him becoming a dragon. Yes, a dragon. He thought he was a dragon, and he would hiss at me sometimes. He would growl at me. He would claw at people sometimes. And we're like, this is weird, but you know what? I'm choosing to have an open mind because I don't want to judge anyone. So I'm like, all right, maybe this will pass. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, it turns out the real reason he got his phone taken away is because, now I don't know if I'm going to say like exactly what happened, but he was role playing with another dragon, and I guess the role playing went too far, and that's all I'm going to say. So at that point, I'm like, oh my god, what is this? But I'm still trying not to judge because, I like having friends, and I wanted Jack to be my friend, but it just wasn't meant to be. So anyway, the letters would get weirder and weirder. Eventually he did get his phone back, so like, that part was fine. But then he started writing letters saying like I was a German Shepherd. Like, first of all, if I was an animal, I would be a bunny, a cute little white fluffy bunny. Actually, no, bunnies are terrifying, and I have another story about terrifying bunnies, but but I'd be one of the cute little bunnies, or a chihuahua at least. Like, he's over there sleeping, but just something cute and innocent and little, or like a unicorn. I'd be a unicorn. I would, yeah. Anyways, I know I'm acting very foolish, but I'm trying to stay calm because thinking about these things just gets me, ugh. The letters, yes. Writing, saying I was like a German Shepherd and that the dragon was coming out even more and stuff. And so, oh yeah, one of the letters was really, really creepy. So I will explain this because this is a very, very weird thing that I don't know. But anyways, in that Spanish class, which is like, it was a great class, we finished class early one time, so the classmates and I were like, let's write a story about candy children, Candyland, yay. So I think I was Meringue Matthew. There was a bunch of other candy names, like Joanne and I came up with candy names for other people before, so I'll just list some of them so you have an idea. There was like Bubblegum Bailey, there was Chocolate Cody, I think it was, Choco Cody, something like that, Lollipop Lily, generic candy names like that. So we're doing that for people, and all of a sudden, Jack. I don't know why I said Jake. There was a Jake at our school, but he's like unrelated to the story. But Jack's face turns red. He's like, and we're like, oh my god, Jack, what's wrong? And he turns to me and he's like, the things that happened with the role-playing dragon thing? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, that's gonna happen to you. I'm like, okay, I don't think the candy children are gonna do any of the things that you and that other dragon were doing, but he's like, no. Let me just write you another letter. So in this letter, it's like, okay, there's this thing called puberty, and obviously you haven't hit it yet, but when you do, certain things are going to happen. You're going to start feeling a certain way, and this letter was going into very explicit detail. I'm like, oh no. One day he tells me that he actually, like, he tells me more about this whole, like, dragon role-playing situation, and even though I'd say I didn't want to hear about it anymore because I was still naive at the time, I was still innocent. This was, like, if you guys know the difference between Disney Matthew and Poppy Matthew, this was still Disney Matthew at the time. So hearing this, I'm like, oh my god, why are you telling me this? Please stop. But it wouldn't stop. It would keep coming. So he told me all these details about this whole role playing thing. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Please stop. And then he started following me everywhere. It was getting really creepy because he would always know where I am. And like, no. So I had a Skype group with all of my friends, and he was in that group. And immediately everyone else in the Skype group like did not like him. And so my best friend, who I'll go ahead and name because, you know, she doesn't care. She's the best. You guys should all know her. Joanne, which I will link her channel down below because she's the best and I love her. She's my best friend. But yeah, anyways. Joanne would talk to him too. Or it would mostly be him talking to her and her just being annoyed. Which I know also sounds terrible, but you know what? You know, at this point, it was so bad. Then, this is just like, you have to keep in mind a bunch of these events are all happening like at once too. So he started being very mean to me. And this was before I would even like say anything like about him to like anyone in the Skype group or like anyone that, you know. So there was that, and I was like really confused. I'm like, why are you being mean to me? Ouch. He would claim he was smarter, and he would say he spoke better Spanish than me, which, okay, why do I have a 98 and why do you not? You know, I don't know. And so it was just really bad. So then I'm like, okay, maybe he's not making me happy. Like, being his friend is not making me happy, so maybe I should just, like, you know, cut him out. And everyone else who I'd, like, talk about it to would say, yes, you need to cut him out. It's being, like, this is very toxic. But I was still wanting to be nice, and I still wanted to give him a chance, so you know, I didn't cut him out right away. It was just really weird. I was very confused. I'm like, I've been nice to you. I give you food. I would bring food to school, like cupcakes and cookies and stuff, and I'd always give him one. He was always like one of the first people I would give him to because I was hoping that maybe I can like ignore all the weird things that was going on and all the scary things he was showing me and stuff like that. But I was just not happy like being his friend anymore, if you know what I mean. So finally I'm like, and I was still too nice. I didn't want to like outright tell him I'm not your friend anymore. I don't want to be your friend anymore. It's just making me sad, and I don't think it's good for you either because it's just, I could see like it was like a pot that was like starting to boil. So it was just a really, really, really bad time. So I just started ignoring him because I didn't know what else to do. So then we had some flooding, not as bad as the flooding that came in during the summer, but he would always like ask, he wouldn't ask, he'd be like, hey Matthew, hey, and I just wouldn't respond. So he would text Joanne, and he asked Joanne, has Matthew told you about all the flooding we've gotten here? And Joanne's like, yeah, why? And he said, oh, because he hasn't really been responding to any of my texts, so maybe he's stressed out about finals. And Joanne's like, he's not stressed out about finals. And right there he realized, he's like, oh God, what have I done? And so Joanne's like, yeah, you were very mean to him, and you did this. And again, you guys have to remember, there's a lot I'm keeping out, and I know I said I was going to keep this under 20 minutes, but it's obviously not going to be, so we'll see. But she's like, you said this to him, you did this to him, you showed him this when he didn't want to see it, you were just scaring him. You would follow him everywhere in school, and it was too much. So then all of a sudden I check my phone, and Joanne's like, oh my god, Matthew, call me. And I get this long apology text, and it's so long that iMessage like puts it in a box that you have to click on, and then it shows the whole thing. It was one of those. And I read through it, and it made me really sad. And just the whole situation, see, at that time, I did not know how to handle situations like that. So of course I started crying. And then I just said, look, this is really hard on me, but I don't think I can be your friend anymore. And he's like, I understand. And like, but look, we don't have to be like enemies or anything. Like, we can still, if we see each other in the halls, I guess we could say hi to each other, but just like, it can't be the way it used to be, because he started, like, it got really scary because the things he would say to me and the ways he would like follow where I was going just made me very uncomfortable in a way. So then the summer goes by and junior year comes, and I'm going to school expecting, like, not having to deal with any of what I was already dealing with the year before. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Can I see your schedule?" I'm like, "Oh, all right, sure, here you go." And he tries to immediately get things back to the way they were at the beginning, but because of everything that he had done before, like, I just could not handle it. So I would ask him, or I texted him, I'm like, "Please, like, this is too much on me. I don't know. I've never really been in this kind of situation before, and I don't know how to handle it." But he just didn't listen, and I mean, it's not really his. I don't want to say he's to blame for all of this, because at the same time, I did realize other people were being very mean to him. So that made my heart hurt for him, but at the same time, I just couldn't be around him because of the way he was treating me. And all my friends would say the same thing. They said they noticed it too, and they knew everything. They saw everything, and they would tell me. And so I didn't know what to do. I mean, now I would have handled things a lot differently now. Like, I would have been like, "Okay, listen, back off. No, we're not doing this." But I didn't know how to say that to someone's face, I text him finally again after, like, a while, and I'm like, "Look, yeah, I already told you, like, I can't do this." And it turns out he blocked my number, so that was kind of weird. So, like, he wasn't getting anything, so I had to get other people to text him what I was texting him, and he's like, why is he doing this? Like, I'd rather him text me himself, but, like, I couldn't. So it was really weird. So then, finally, I just went up to him. I'm like, "Look, remember just what we said at the beginning, or at the end of the end of sophomore year? We don't have to hate each other. You can still have my food if you want, but things can't go back to the way they were." He's like, "All right, I respect that." So, yeah, after that, it was pretty much, he did leave me alone, but he started getting dangerous. And this was, like, near the end of the school year, so this was, like, months after, so I don't think it was, like, because of, I would like to think it wasn't because of me. I hope it wasn't because of me, but he threatened to put someone in the hospital, so he got suspended for a week, and then the school year ends, and senior year comes along, and again, he's getting, so I don't know if he was doing anything else, but, like, I would hear of him doing things. I don't know if these were true or not, or people just making them up. I know it sounds terrible, but I wouldn't be surprised if they turned out to be real. So he would, like, go up to classroom doors and then, like, look at someone and then go like this. And what else would he do? Yeah, he would throw things. He threw his phone because a teacher told him to put it away, so he, like, slammed it in the middle of the class, and I'm like, "Oh my god." But I would still be nice to him. He would ask for food because I'd bring cakes to our government class, and he would ask for a slice, and I'd give it to him because I'm not gonna say no, because one, I told him that we wouldn't hate each other. Two, I know, like, I don't like being disliked, so I was trying to keep that, like, from not happening, even though, like, it was probably too late. Three, he was getting dangerous, and I knew that, so I didn't want any conflict. And yeah, that's it, actually. So I thought everything was fine, and it had been, like, a while since all the stuff before had happened, and it wasn't. But anyways, we gotta keep talking about how dangerous he was becoming. So the school that I went to, like, the week before spring break, they would send people out, like, all over the world. Some people, they used to go to Ukraine. Once they went to the Netherlands. They'd go to, like, Italy, Costa Rica, all the places, And My friends and I, we wanted to go to the Boston trip, which that's another story because a lot of things happened there, but I'm not going to talk about it because, you know, it was a lot and it was personal, so I don't know. And anyone who was on the Boston trip, I still love them. I love all of them so much, and you know, it was just, anyways, that's besides the point. So he gets caught and he signs up for the Boston trip too, and we're like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. He gets caught with a pocket knife in the airport, and they let him take it through, and he ends up throwing it at someone later. It was closed, but he still threw it at a person. Like, oh my god. He keeps getting lost. He got lost like 5 times during that trip. And so we had that, you know, that Remind app text thing. Every announcement was asking, has anyone seen Jack? Jack is missing. Oh no, where's Jack? And so, I mean, I don't know if that's just like, it was just a weird thing. It was another one of those weird things. And then one day, people that he was rooming with wanted to take a nap, and he would play this music. Oh, and that music is so annoying and so bad. And he would play it on a speaker as we were walking down the street. It was really bad. And he was playing it in their room once, and they wanted to take a nap, so they asked him to turn it off, and he's like, okay, fine, but first, here's the sound of my shotgun. So then he starts looking in his bag, and they're like, wait, they wouldn't have, he couldn't have brought a shotgun, right? And he like looks up, he goes, boom, okay, now you can take a nap. And they're like, okay, I thought we were gonna die, thank God we didn't, but yeah. So then there was one night where the chaperones were like, oh yeah, we have dinner at this restaurant, we're all gonna, you know, you don't have to pay for it, so we're all gonna eat here. And he just happened to sit at the same table as me, kind of like 2 seats away, but enough to like where I can hear everything that's happening. So then he's like talking about how he saw a certain thing at a certain place, the beach, you know, I don't need to censor the beach. And we're like, oh, okay, you don't really need to tell us that you saw that. And then, so then the other person sitting across from him was kind of like egging him on and instigating it. And so finally he slams his fist on the table with a fork and a knife. And he's like, I'm about to jump over this table and teach you a lesson. And so I'm like, whoa, Jack, we don't believe in threats. And he's like, you don't, but I do. And we're like, okay, well, we're not killing anyone today, okay? And so we're like, all right, fine. So then, end of the year is coming. There's a lot of tension between a lot of people because in, you know, the end of senior year, everyone's like, I've always hated you, blah, blah, blah. So bad. Somehow, people are talking to him, and he reveals his kill list to them. Rose, you guys, yeah, Rose was number 3. The girl he had threatened to put in the hospital the year before was number 2, and I had the dishonor of being number 1 on a dragon's, because he thought he was a dragon. Like, he actually thought he was a dragon. I have text and stuff to prove it. He was like, oh yeah, that, like, this isn't just like a regular furry thing. Like, I am a dragon. So I was on the top of a dragon's hunting list, if you will. So I told my parents, they're like, all right, we'll talk about it when we get home. One of the teachers actually finds out and tells the principal. So then the principal calls my parents before my parents call the principal. And me and, or those 2 other girls and I, we get sent home. And there's this one person, and I'm not going to talk about this person a lot, but this person really caused like the last of the whole problem thing. This person was like, I'm going to tell everyone you're lying, which it wasn't a good idea to text me that you were going to do that because I had proof. Anyways, so then I started getting harassed because people thought like I did this just to get him in trouble. But then like people started, like a week later, a bunch of people started to realize that I didn't, and I wasn't even the one who told on him, so it wasn't me. But I was still getting harassed by a bunch of other people, so I had to end school early because of this, which I guess some of you would think that's a good thing, because I got to stop going to school 3 weeks before school actually ended. But at the same time, I feel like it was not a great experience because all of that had been leading up to it, and just to find out that he did in fact still hate me, and the fact that people were willing to harass me, even though they knew that he did have a kill list and that I was number one. I did survive, and I'm still here talking to you guys about this. And yeah, that's the story. So then they had to establish there was police presence around the school, but they had to increase it because they didn't want, him to get angry. So one of the girls that was on girl number 2, she was still going to school because they weren't really harassing her. For some reason, they were only targeting me. I mean, there were stuff thrown at the other 2 girls, but it was mostly towards me, and I don't know, I guess they just saw me as like an easy target to like, oh, he told his parents, so he did this on purpose. And I guess they knew like a lot of the backstory. But yeah, we ended up having to go to the police station to like report about this with different people. I can't get into all of that either, but so anyways, the other girl was still going to like her softball games and stuff, and he texted someone if they could sneak him into the softball game because it would be lit. So it was not a good thing. And I don't know how I feel about all of this, but I survived that. So if a dragon threatens to hunt you down and kill you, I don't know. I don't have any advice. I'm trying to like wrap this up, but yeah, that's the story. So I know, crazy. That is the craziest story I have. I have a lot of other crazy stories, so if you guys want to hear about those too, like many times getting into fights at Disney World on New Year's Eve. It wasn't me getting into fights, but like people threatened to beat me up at one point because I was sitting in a spot that they wanted, but I had been there for an hour. But that's a whole other story. So if you guys want to hear more stories like that, they will, my life is crazy. But I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this story if you listened to the whole thing. But yeah, that's my high school experience, guys. So high school's great. But I know this is a very awkward ending. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Yeah. Also, be honest, what do you guys think of this? I'm in love with it, but if you guys don't like it, then, just don't say anything because I'm gonna keep it anyway. So, like, I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.